Welcome to another edition of Africa Sideways. My name's Big Six Simpson, and we're coming to you from the raunchy Pajero Sport. It really is a lot of fun, this truck. Very good off-road, very good on-road. It's the last time I drove a Pajero was a couple of years ago, and I can see a big difference. It was a bit more utilitarian, a bit more ladder frame. This feels like they've softened it a bit, but without losing the off-road ability. You've still got 220 mils, you've still got a rear diff, center diff. Suspension is class leading. Did the industry standard speed hump test with flappers, and he always said the H9 was the best he's ever felt, and this is H9 level, so they've definitely got the suspension right on this truck. Yeah, we got a little off-road section. Shouldn't be a problem. So you got all the off-road. You got hill ascent, high, low, the whole suite of doofies. So you can pretty much go anywhere in this car, and it'll be there for you. It just goes and goes and goes. You can feel on the bumpy, but it's just how planted the suspension is. Exceptional suspension on this truck. Best suspension I've driven all year, I'd say. Easy. And this ain't in the. This is next level motoring, this thing. I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's better than a Prado, and that's 400,000 rand more expensive. I mean, check this. It's so planted on gravel. It's not even funny. This is a Dakar Heritage coming loud and proud. Cornering at speed. Drifting around. Oh! That is a lot of fun. And we come up here. Oh, with the traction control off, the power just wants to go. The power on the hour. One thing you must remember with this car, to turn the traction control up, you've got to keep your finger down for 4 seconds. In the Triton, I didn't. Thank you, Nabil, for telling me that. Mitsubishi Outlander owner, because I was thinking it wasn't working, but it was actually just me. So, out of all the diesels I've driven this year, this one has the least amount of turbo lag. It feels like a petrol off the mark, and ironically, it's not one of the bigger engines. It's just a 2.4 turbo diesel, but they put a big fat turbo on. It's old school tech. It can handle more dodgy fuel than some of the new European high emission regulation engines. I believe this is a Euro 5. It is a little bit more smelly than, say, a Hilux or a Pajero diesel. It's that old school tech, but you get it in the back of your pants and grunt. Whoa. And you know, it's very good reliability. These things are good for 300,000 Ks. Solid engine. Mitsubishi reliability. I wonder what the overtaking's like on this. Can we get around here? You see it overtakes very, very nicely. Beautiful. Absolute pleasure, this car. Here about 80, and I'm only doing 1.3 revs. It really is a proper place to be. So there's a lot of competition in this marketplace, the seven-seater game, and pretty much a lot of the manufacturers have exposure. Let's check out turning circle. Right on point. There you go. That's what you pay your cash for. So lot of competition in this segment. Let's just start at the top with probably the flagship 7-seater at the moment, in my opinion, is the is the Toyota Land Cruiser Prado, which is 1.1 million rand. It's a lot of change, but with that you get top level luxury, you get Toyota reliability. But this thing is, I'd say, a little bit more fun to drive, a bit more responsive, a bit more perky, and 400,000 rand cheaper. And I don't see a big difference in the luxury games here. This has less tech, but for somebody who doesn't want a lot of tech, this thing's just fine. It's got all the off-road tech you'd ever need, that's what I buy the car for. In terms of windscreen wipers, very good, does the business. Get a nice lot of water on the screen. So yeah, this is up against the Prado, which is very, very popular in this country, and for some reason the Mitsubishi isn't. And I was chatting to Rhino One about it, and I'm trying to get behind the psychology of why Mitsubishi hasn't taken off in South Africa. Because in Australia it sells a lot of product, but in South Africa not so much. And I think it might be the styling is a little bit too unique and a little bit too progressive. You know, you stand out a bit, and South Africans don't really want to stand out. They'd rather just get a Fortuner like their neighbour, and just there's a little bit of a sheep mentality in South Africa. And there's no reason why this shouldn't be selling hotcakes. It's coming in cheaper, it handles great, you got reliability, you got 7 seats, you got pulling power, you got looks. You know, what is the problem? A little less bulky, so it's easier to park. Women will like it better because it's not as difficult to park. Bottom line, it's narrower than my X-Trail, but longer, so that's how they can fit the 7 seats in. It's quite compact here. You don't need that extra space. So for me, Pajero versus Prado, this one wins because it's 400,000 rand cheaper, and there's not that much difference in the vehicles. Against the Fortuner, the handling on the Fortuner is not known to be great, and they're kind of run-of-the-mill at the moment. There's a lot of them on the road, and the styling for me isn't quite there. They're trying a little bit too hard. It's too angular. But I guess it's like looking at a painting. Some people are going to love it. Some people are going to think it needs something different. But they certainly do sell a lot of product, so you can't knock that on Toyota. And they have that resale and reliability built in. Resale on this probably won't be quite as good as a Toyota, but not too far off. In fact, I've seen a lot of second-hand cars across the board have gone up in value. Not even brand specific, probably just the supply chain shortage. And then after that, 7-seaters, you'll get your Renault Triber, which is just a little cheapie from the Renault stable. And then you get your Nissan X-Trail and the Patrol. The Patrol is a big bulky vehicle, so it's not really in the conversation against this. The X-Trail is probably a fairer bet. I've got a friend with a 7-seater X-Trail, and he's been very happy with it. He's got the 1.6 Renault turbo diesel, which he said is ample power and extremely frugal. I think that's one of the better Renault engines that they've made, because I'm not going to go into too much of Renault. And then what else is there? Then you get into your Mercedes and your BMWs and your Audis, your Q7s and all that. And when you start talking about, you're talking north of $1 million. So, and all of those have got low profile tires and not really that good off-road. So for me, if you can't hack it off-road, you're not even in the conversation on the 7-seater stakes. That would be more the luxury show pony stiletto crowd is going to love the Mercedes, the Defender and all that. But I'm more interested in reliability, and that's where my affinity to Japanese cars come in, and South Korean cars. Hyundai, I've got a good record. In terms of 7-seaters for them, they've got the Santa Fe, good offering, quite soft, not great clearance. So in terms of the off-road stakes, it's not really going to blow your hair back too far. And you got the CX-7, which I'm looking forward to getting my hands on. That looks like a good offering. Just a lot of fun, this truck. Just put the boot in. But having said that, all of those things, nothing really comes close to this on price, performance, and smile factor. And you'll get decent resale on this. And Mitsubishi put proper tires and from the factory. Well done, Mits. Toyo, open countries. I think some of the other OEMs can learn from this. I mean, take Ford for example. They got 5 different types of I don't know exactly 5, but pretty much 5 different types of Rangers. You get the Raptor, you get the Wildtrak, you get the Stormtrack, you get the Thunder, and the XLT, and they're all running off the same Continental Highway tire. Now, well, except for the Raptor. I'm thinking a great way to differentiate between different models of the same car is to put a different tacky on. You know, it's a low-hanging fruit, guys. Any manufacturer, if you need help kitting out a 4-wheel drive for production, limited edition, with the right stuff, give Big Six a call. Let's see how we do off the line here. Oh, traction control off. The back end slips nicely. Take the traction control, put it back on again for this fast left-hander. Oh, it's just so planted, it's not even funny. Beautiful. So it really does tick a lot of boxes, and it's a joy to drive, and will give you years of trouble-free motoring, most likely. Nothing's guaranteed in this world, but this really is good. One thing I must say is when you start the car, it does do a fair amount of beeping. I think you've got to have your seatbelt on before you even start the car. So besides that, it's not a massive beeper, and it doesn't have the radar guided cruise control, which some people might think that is a downside, but for me it's less to worry about. A lot of the time with the lane assist, I find myself wrestling a bit with the steering wheel, and it kind of plays ping pong. It doesn't necessarily keep you in the middle. It just senses you going to the left, then it'll straighten you up, and then you start going right, and it'll straighten. So if you're doing any kind of twisty roads, you're kind of doing Pac-Man down the highway. I still think that autonomous driving still has a little way to go. In terms of wind noise, here we are at 80 kilometers an hour. Bit of wind noise, but nothing too bad. Pretty well insulated. In terms of off-road ability, it is all there, ladies and gentlemen. Took it to Olympic Sand Dunes with Rhino 1. With the Prado 120 Land Cruiser as the gatekeeper, and this thing kept up perfectly. It had a little drag race, and there wasn't much in it at all between the 4-liter V6 184 kilowatt 120 versus the 137 kilowatt 4-cylinder diesel here. Wasn't much in it at all. I'd say off the line, this is probably one of the quickest diesel buckies in the world. Really limited turbo lag, and from a 2.4 it really is impressive. You see it just jumps into action and says, "I'm ready for business, sir." And then if you're carrying a bit of speed into the corners, that's fine, because you got class leading suspension, handling, and it just feels very well made. So I could go on waxing lyrical about this car, but I don't need to, because it speaks for itself. The new Mitsubishi Pajero Sport, highly recommended for the family man, the housewife, the working mom, the adventurer. You could do overlanding in this easily. So sure, I'm gonna have to give it a 9.5 out of 10, ladies and gentlemen. As Rhino 1 said, the 10 out of 10 is a unicorn, but this is just really top end motoring. Well done, Mitsubishi. Flappers thinks about it. So, come to the end of a busy year on Africa Sideways. Thanks again to all the manufacturers for hooking Big Six up. Thanks for the viewers for the support. Thanks for the positivity, and the haters, blessings. And we will catch you Next time on Africa Sideways, have a blessed festive season. God bless. Sane Gashle, Ilane Kokushle, and